Deputy Clare Daly is question number 7.
Thanks, Ceann Comhairle. Minister, obviously there has been a new public service-wide sick leave scheme introduced earlier this year. You were the person with the power to change regulations within that scheme, and this question relates specifically to the changes in relation to the treatment of pregnancy-related sick leave, which I believe is particularly discriminatory against women, because a difficult pregnancy could see you eating up your entire allowance and then essentially not being able to avail of sick leave later on without a huge financial penalty. So the question really is asking you to revise that aspect of the scheme.
Minister number 7.
The legal position in relation to the treatment of pregnancy-related illnesses, and in particular the issue raised in the Deputy's question and set out now again by her this morning, was dealt with in the European Court ruling in the McKenna case. That case addressed inter alia the counting of sick leave for pregnancy-related illnesses. The Court considered that it was not discriminatory for pregnancy-related absences to be offset against the maximum number of days paid sick leave to which a female employee is entitled. However, the Court also confirmed that although it wasn't discriminatory to count the number of pregnancy-related sick leave days, a woman should still have access to the minimum payment that she would have received had she not suffered such a pregnancy-related illness. In accordance with this, the new sick leave scheme provides that any pregnancy-related absence for which a female employee has been paid at the half rate will not count against her sick leave limits. That's in the new scheme. Pregnancy-related illnesses are also discounted for consideration of promotion or higher duty allowances or any other payments. In addition, consistent with the judgment, the new sick leave scheme provides that a female employee who suffers from a pregnancy-related illness will be covered by the same sick leave provisions as other employees, and she will also have an additional protection afforded to her so that her pay does not fall below a threshold. In these ways, the Public Service Sick Leave Scheme recognises the distinct position of the pregnant worker and makes provision for the protection of the health and welfare of such workers. The new scheme not only implements the principles of European law in relation to non-discrimination against pregnant workers, it also provides additional and extra supports in the context of the new critical illness protocol, which is part of the new scheme. While I'm keeping the new sick leave scheme under review, I do not intend to revise the scheme at this early stage until I have seen how it's working out in practice. I have, however, committed, I want to tell the House, to undertake a formal review of the new scheme after a full year of operation to ensure that any adjustments necessary to address any anomaly that does arise will be made. And I give a commitment to the Deputy that a year after the scheme is in operation, we'll do an assessment and if anomalies arise or any unforeseen implications from the scheme arise, I'll address it at that stage.
Deputy Clare Daly.
I'm glad to see there will be a review. I take it that review will be done then in March 2015, but I appreciate that there is health and safety implications and a pregnant woman can avail of extra entitlements. But the issue and where the problem really arises is if you haven't used up all your sick leave and you're pregnant, it eats into your sick leave, and then later on, when you're not pregnant, you can't avail of sick leave because you've used it all up while you were pregnant. So it's precisely the people who haven't got a poor record, if you like, who maybe encounter a difficult pregnancy which eats up that leave, who are the ones who are being afflicted. And it has caused huge stress across the public sector. I just want to deal with a little bit of a correspondence I got from one young mother in my area who actually went back to work because of the fear of her pay being docked, because like a lot of young couples, negative equity and all of that. And she made the point that through 12 years of her working life as a teacher, she'd never missed a day until she experienced a difficult pregnancy. Because of issues in working with small children, there was a virus in the school that the doctor said she had to stay away for 4 weeks because of the danger to the baby. That virus came back to the school. She missed another 2 weeks. Then she had a difficulty which brought her up in hospital, and suddenly you can see how very, very quickly all her sick leave entitlements were gone. And this woman was literally crying, writing to me. Another teacher as well wrote an email from her hospital bed, being taken into hospital and not being able to avail of it. So that's where the problem lies, and I think that's the issue that needs to be addressed.
Well, I mean, number one, pregnancy is not an illness, and obviously people are entitled to normal pregnancy leave if they're teachers or anybody else. they get normal pregnancy leave, maternity leave, which is the normal process. But if there is illnesses associated with pregnancy, they're treated in a special way, as I've indicated. Now, you're saying that, well, somebody who is ill from a pregnancy-related illness is anxious that they might be ill from some other reason later on. Well, let's address that when that might happen, as opposed to getting particularly anxious that they're clocking up days. Because, as I've said, pregnancy-related illness was never discounted, never fully discounted from sick leave arrangements. And we have looked carefully at what the European Court has said. We are applying best international practice in relation to it. So that we are not only equivalent of, but as good as any sick leave arrangement that we've looked at. But we'll see how this pans out. But I don't think women who are pregnant and who are out of work with pregnancy-related illnesses should be anxious that somehow they might get ill again and that might impact upon them.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Daly.
See, it's okay saying that, but they are very worried, and you can see it in the context of the reduced allowances to sick leave. I mean, that one example I quoted, if you like, means that that young woman's entire sick leave has been eaten up through this pregnancy, which she won't get back because, you know, she hadn't used up her sick leave before that, so she won't get that back later on. And so what she faces is for the next 4 years having no entitlement to paid sick leave. And that's the worry when you're dealing with, we all know a lot of public sector workers have taken huge hits in terms of their wages. The prospect of going onto half pay or no pay for a couple of days or a week or two if something happens to you is seriously worried. So people are, if you like, taking risks. As I said, the scenario there where they were advised for the benefit of the pregnancy that they couldn't go to work, but they would have been able to otherwise, but they couldn't for that reason. That's why they stayed away. So people are going to take risks, and unfortunately, in my experience, they have. I mean, another woman said, I simply cannot afford to go on half pay as I've substantial rent and bills to pay every month. This, that she made the point about the change. She said, today I was admitted to hospital with suspected preeclampsia, and I'm so angry I'm writing this email from my hospital bed. And that is an experience that has been repeated by others. So that's the anomaly that really needs to be worked out. And it's okay to say, don't stress about it, but people are, because they're already on the breadline as it is.
Minister, final reply on this question.
Well, I mean, I really don't understand that particular issues would arise. If you look at the critical illness protocol that I said will probably affect, and I don't know the details of the case or the particular illnesses of the person you're quoting, but somebody who is encompassed by the critical illness process has access to 12 months of paid leave on exactly the same basis as the previous scheme. That's 183 paid days of full leave in a rolling year, followed by another 6 months, 182 days on half pay. You know, I don't know how long somebody would be ill, but the notion that you'd be out for more than a year and a half illness in a 4-year period and expect to be paid fully is, you know, just looking at international norms, there has been an understanding. If you're ill, you can't work. In a normal employment in the private sector, obviously you're supported as long as you can, but there is an understanding that there is a limit to the time when somebody is out on full pay.